For this week's editor's cut, I want to debrief a busy week of tech news. Two of the big stories were the TikTok deal finally closing, and also in our own newsroom, our reporting around OpenAI's ads play. I want to bring on Martin Pierce and Meredith Mazzilli to break it all down. Welcome to you both. It's great to have you back.
Hello.
Hey, Kosh.
So, Martin, let's start with the TikTok deal. The long awaited saga of TikTok seems to have come to some kind of a close yesterday. You have thoughts on this because it's not actually the close that a lot of people are saying that it is. What did you make of it?
Well, I've just noticed there's been a lot of coverage of it as though TikTok has been acquired and it's under new ownership. That's not really what has happened. And I think there's just a huge amount of misunderstanding about this. ByteDance has created a joint venture with a bunch of investors, many of whom were already investors in ByteDance. And they also brought in Oracle and MGX and Silver Lake. And this joint venture has housed the user data security arm, and it will also oversee the algorithm. But the actual money-making part of TikTok is not changing. So when you read all these articles saying that TikTok has been acquired, that's just not really true. In fact, ByteDance continues to own a stake in this venture. The CEO is a TikTok executive. The board includes the TikTok CEO. So ByteDance will have a lot of involvement with TikTok in the US. I mean, it's hugely, really still involved.
Right, right. Look, I we could talk about TikTok all day. I think the more interesting topic
Let's not,
actually
though. We've been talking about TikTok for
For years.
we're all
for
sick of it.
years.
Yeah, and I think that's another interesting point of kind of this news cycle finally coming to an end. We've been looking at, will advertisers ramp back up? Will merchants be pushing deeper into using TikTok Shop? And on one hand, there has been this uncertainty holding some back, but I think also some just got so used to the noise that it wasn't necessarily a huge factor. There's other factors that now I think will come to light that excuse isn't there so much that TikTok could shut down one day. And so that's something we're going to be looking at going forward, and think will continue to be interesting.
Well, and this is the whole thing is that, I mean, any kind of legislation or regulation around any kind of social platform, especially in consumer, I mean, it takes years to play out, and then consumer trends change over time. We just had somebody on the show yesterday talking about how creators TikTok is not their favorite platform anymore. I mean, it's not the first one they think of, and so I mean, anytime there's any regulation, it's like it's all years behind.
Right. That's actually a really important point, which is that, yes, advertisers, for instance, we have asked advertisers repeatedly since 2020, when this issue first became an issue, whether or not they were going to pull back from advertising on TikTok. And they always said, no, we're just watching, but no, it's fine right now. Now, the big thing that could prompt them to pull back is if they realize that people aren't using TikTok as much. So that's the real thing that we should watch, not this deal, which isn't really what people think it is.
And
Right.
the other thing that drives me crazy, Martin, about this deal and the reporting around some of it, this is something we talk about a lot in the editors meeting, is just the exact terms of the revenue share and the profit share with this entity going forward. Share sounds like a very friendly, happy term, but it's not really clear how much, ByteDance is giving up. Martin, I don't know if you have any thoughts
Don't
on
know
that.
any of
But
the details.
yeah,
We don't know any of the
yeah.
details. This entire thing has been kept very much under perhaps. Um, yeah, I mean, my main point is do not believe all the stories that you're reading that suddenly TikTok is under new ownership. That's not really true.
Right. And then, I mean, I'm just thinking, but, you know, in terms of political wins that the Trump administration would want to keep track for them, I mean, this is something that he probably,
Well, Trump orchestrated this. He likes TikTok. He thinks that it helped him in the election. So he has chosen a deal which works for him. And I mean, honestly, that's how he operates. So we shouldn't be that surprised.
Great. Okay. Well, let's talk about OpenAI's ads play because we had some good reporting this week about how it is that OpenAI is starting to talk to advertisers about this, what amounts of money it's starting to take in early commitments. So, look, I sit on the other side of the office for people who are listening. Meredith and Martin, they sit next to each other and they're yapping away all the time. And this week they
I'm trying to
wouldn't.
work and Meredith keeps talking. I
Right.
can't get
Okay.
anything done.
This week, okay, the thing that they wouldn't stop talking about is the ads play. And I don't know what the debate is that you guys are having, but what is it that you disagree on? I don't really understand.
Well,
I
I
don't
don't
think
know
we
if it's
really disagree.
disagree so much as, like, we don't know what's going on, and we're trying to figure
Well,
it out.
speak for yourself. I know
Okay,
what's
alright.
going on. You may not.
Okay.
Um,
So Meredith, but you don't know what's going on. I mean, like, so what? I mean, yeah, we don't know when the ads are really going to roll out. We don't know what they're going to look like. We don't know how retailers are going to act.
well,
Like,
let me zoom out a little bit and kind of explain why I say that. So this is kind of draw a parallel to the TikTok story. This is something that's been bubbling along for a while. OpenAI publicly has been coy about their ad plans, but this free user monetization, it was going to have to come from somewhere. And they announced last Friday that they were going to start putting ads in ChatGPT. Great. And then it turns out, as we were doing some more reporting, that the details that we're filtering out to advertisers so far are still pretty limited. What we did report last week and what advertisers are starting to hear is that they are charging on the basis of views as opposed to clicks. So, not necessarily like a traditional search ad. And I think right now, what we're trying to figure out as editors in the editor's room is what are the best comps? Like, how should we think about this business? Um, how do we compare it to other ad businesses when they launched? I know, Martin, we were talking about like if Netflix is a good comp. I don't know if you have thoughts there. I know you covered that ad launch a few years ago.
Well, I mean, look, the way I would frame this is OpenAI makes a specialty in announcing lots of things. They are, if you look at everything that they're doing, they are trying to expand in every possible way, and they just make a routine habit of announcing things, many of which don't really develop as they claim it will. And I think in this case, they're out there trying to raise money. They have to have a story to tell about how they will actually build the business. Advertising is an obvious area where they need to expand. So they've just made this announcement, but they don't have any kind of technology to run the ads. They don't have anyone selling the ads. They've got a guy who overseeing the ad business who doesn't have a background in ads. This entire announcement, you might say, is vaporware. And that's certainly the way that I think about it. It's not a
so
re
what? So why? Okay,
so
other than the, okay,
we have to be more skeptical. That's my point.
I'm with you, but I mean, so what? The alternative, I guess you're saying, is launch the ads and then do the press release. That's what you're saying.
Well, or I mean, I understand why they would do it, but they could say, "We're planning to do ads. It will take us a year to get it in place." Netflix, for instance, made an announcement. It took them a while. Um, these things don't happen that fast. So the idea that they're gonna start making money from ads right away is just not, believable.
Right. Meredith, is there any validity to the idea you have to tell people that it's coming? I mean, this is a platform that people are using more and more and more. I mean, I you could make the argument that hey, as long as people are talking about ads and they're expecting it, then whatever noise there is good from a user experience perspective because they know it's coming.
Right. I mean, I think there are a lot of those factors at play here as well. The way that OpenAI positioned their announcement last week was kind of like a heads up, these ads are coming, trying to get out ahead of maybe user worries that they would be in sensitive chats or targeted at kids or things like that, which fine, like those are kind of unique concerns for ChatGPT that they might want to be getting out ahead of. But to Martin's point, they're also fundraising right now, right? So there's also a benefit for saying, hey, ads are coming, they're really coming, maybe even a little bit before they had that infrastructure in place.
Great. Okay. Well, Martin, unless you have any final thoughts, I think I'll let you guys get back to it. I know you have your editors meeting coming up. I want to thank you both for coming on. That is Martin Pierce and Meredith Mazzilli here, our most fun editors at
That's
The
fun.
Information.